Welcome. So today we are starting the pedagogy section. This is complete preparation of pedagogy section, along in which we will cover 200 MCQs, which are the most repeated from the previous papers of FDE EST posts Islamabad. Okay, these are the most repeated MCQs. So by doing only these MCQs, the selected and the most repeated 200 MCQs, you will easily got 90% in your exams. Okay, in pedagogy section. So let's start. We already covered our FDE physics sections in our previous lectures. We covered total 7 lectures on FDE EST physics. If you are applying for physics test, then definitely you can watch. We will also upload videos relevant to other subjects like biology, chemistry, English, and other subjects like Urdu and Islam, and also okay for the FDE EST tests. In today's lecture, we are covering the pedagogy section. You know that in EST examination, 20% is your pedagogy, 20% is your come from English, okay, grammar, and remaining 60% is from your subject, okay. So there are 20 MCQs which came from the pedagogy section. So this is very important because this is many students have problems in this section. So stay connected with us. We will upload all the pedagogy most important and the most repeated MCQs in this video. Okay, so in today's video we will cover all these. Okay, so let's start. This is basically the complete preparation of pedagogy. Okay, we are going to cover, in which we have supposed to cover 200 MCQs, and this is for FDE EST posts. Also, this is for PPSC, FPSC, and all other federal tests. Okay, so let's start. Basically, ES posts announced by FDE, which is the Federal Directorate of Education, FDE Islamabad. Basically, they conduct the test for elementary school test, okay, and that follows the following pattern. The total test pattern we have to let's discuss. The total marks should be 100, and total 100 multiple choice questions should be came. Total you have just 90 minutes, means 1.5 hour, and this medium is English, and there is no negative marking. The okay benefit for you, okay. So syllabus breakdown is 20% is from English. This section includes sentence comprehension, synonyms, antonyms, and comprehensives. Okay, so we will also cover our English 20% portion, which came in your exam in our upcoming videos. So till then, we are just covering the this, which is the general section 20%, in which it comes from the pedagogy, okay, and remaining is from, you can see here, it comes from pedagogy, your IQ, mathematics, if Islamic studies, if you are Park study students, and depends upon, and everyday sciences if you are sciences students, so pedagogy should came, okay. Then move on towards the general relevance. So the general subject relevant 60% came according to your subject, the subject you are applying, the 60% came from there. And the books which is associated recommended for this is only from grade 5 to 12, okay, means mostly came from 9, 10, and first year and second year books, okay. And just follow those books, not buy any external book from outsource, okay. So these are basically the syllabus breakdown. First of all, you must have to know the main context, which is what is pedagogy. So basically, pedagogy is a method and practice of teaching. Okay, the word peda is basically means child. Okay, the word peda is basically means child, and pedagogy is basically a method and practice of teaching. Method and practice of teaching, the way of teaching, especially in an academic subjects or theoretical concept. It involves strategies, techniques, and approaches used by an educators, means teachers, to facilitate learning. This is basically for teachers we who are the educators and who has to facilitate the learners are basically the child students. Okay, so this involves the first of all the strategies, the techniques, and the approaches that the educator teacher has to use to facilitate the learners. Okay, the main element of pedagogy is mentioned below. First of all is the teaching methods. Okay, first of all, the teaching methods, the various techniques and strategies used by a teacher to impact knowledge. How teacher to impart the knowledge. Okay, there are various techniques and strategies. So this is known as the teaching method. So every teacher have their own teaching method. Basically, this depend upon their techniques and strategies that the teacher use to impart the knowledge, means to deliver the knowledge. Okay. Next thing is the learning theories. These principles and theories that explains how students absorb and process and retain knowledge. What are learning theories basically? Learning theories are basically the principles and theories that explains how student absorb the process, how student absorb the learning process, and how they retain knowledge, how they absorb the knowledge. This is depends upon the learning theories. Every teacher have their own, every student have their own learning theories depend upon their own skills, on absorption process, on retaining knowledge. Okay, so next thing is the curriculum design. What is curriculum design? The structure and content of what is being taught. This is basically what is curriculum. You know that every subject has their own curriculum. So curriculum design is basically the structure and the context. You can say the context of the course of the subject of which being taught by the teacher to the students. Okay, this is called as the curriculum design. And assessments and evaluations, and you know that this is a very common factor, methods to measure students. So what are assessments? Teachers gave you assessments. Why they gave assessments? Basically they have to visualize our learning progress, how much we are learning. Okay, and understanding of our understanding. Teacher delivered their lecture to us, but after they have to uh, measure the learning progress of students, to check out the students, how they understand, is their understanding good or not. To check the learning progress and the understanding of students, the teacher should got the assessments and the evaluations. Okay, next is learning environment. This is a very common factor. The physical or virtual species where learning takes place. Okay, learning environment is very crucial and very important. This is basically the main physical or virtual space where students came and sit and they learned. Okay, so this learning environment should be very important. Teacher student interaction, very important. How teacher interact with students and how students interact with teachers, this is very important. So the dynamics and relationship between teachers and the students we'll discuss in this. Instructional resources. Instructional resources. The materials and tools used to support teacher and learning. So there are definitely some resources used in the classroom that teacher use whiteboard, sometimes chalkboard, and the materials and the tools used to support the teacher or to enhance the teaching skills and enhance the students' learning. Okay, education goals and objectives. So very important part. This intended outcomes and aims of the teaching process. Okay. Now basically the topic which are included in the FDE EST Elementary School Test 2024. Basically the pedagogy section is section in previous past papers for FDE Federal Board of Federal Directorate of Education EST, which is so called as the elementary school test. Posts in Islamabad typically include a range of topics related to the teaching methods and education theories. Okay, first one, the method is they develop is the children development. Okay, in this understanding physical, cognitive, social, and emotional development of students. In children development, we discuss about the understanding physical, cognitive, social, and emotional development of the children. In educational psychology, there are theories of learning and in motivations and behavior management in the classroom. These are educational psychology. And in teacher methods and strategies, we are using various instructional methods, like we are using various techniques in the classroom management, and differentiated instruments we are using to enhance our teaching methods and strategies in the classroom. And curriculum planning is very very important, as I mentioned you before. This is basically the approaches to curriculum development to initialize the lesson planning and the assessment methods. This is very crucial for lesson planning and assessment methods. Next is assessments and evaluations. So this must be formative and summative assessment techniques there are, and the use of assessment to guide the instructions. Okay, and educational technology, integrate of technology into teaching and learning process. The new technology should be added so to enhance the teaching as well as the learning processes of students. Classroom management. The strategies for creating and maintaining a conductive being about the results learning environments. Okay, approaches to learn students with diverse needs and backgrounds. And the last one is the educational policies and framework. Okay, in this we have to understand the national educational policies and standards and frameworks to relevant to teaching, which are the relevant to teaching. Okay, so let's start MCQs, which are the most repeated previous pedagogy MCQs in the FDE EST exams in the child development. Okay, so first of all we have to cover the MCQs from child development. Okay, in child development we cover total of uh, 15 MCQs. Okay, then we will move on towards our next section. So in child development, first of all you must have to know how about child development refers to their physical development, their cognitive, their social, and their emotional growth. So you have to develop a child, so there is very very important for you to physically develop to cognitive, social, and emotional growth of, and the changes that occur in the children from birth through adolescence. Okay, adolescence is the young age. Okay, it involves progression of various skills and abilities as a motor skills. Okay, some such skills you have to develop: motor skills, language skills, thinking skills, problem solving skills, and social interaction. We have to involves in this progression. Okay, where skills and abilities these are we have to develop in the children development. Okay, these are very very crucial. So the key topics in child development is mentioned below. Okay, first of all you know that the physical development, how physical develop, basically growth in the body size, their muscles, their motor skills. Okay, this is basically the physical growth, physical development, that the growth in their body size, their muscle, and their motor skills basically. Next one is the cognitive development. What is cognitive development? Development of intellectual abilities and including thinking, reasoning, and problem solving. This is called as the cognitive development. So teacher must have to develop the intellectual abilities of a student, or which includes thinking, thinking, more you succeed, the more reasoning, why this is should be, and the more problem solving. This is so called as the cognitive development. Okay, and some other developments like social and emotional developments, understanding the, and teacher should understand and managing emotions, forming relationships, and the development a sense of self. Okay, so these are the social and the emotional development. Next is the language development. Basically, this is appreciation of language skills, including speaking, because understanding and reading and writing. So, speaking, reading, and writing, these all are should be listed in language development. Then next is the moral development. What is moral development? Understanding of rights and wrongs. So, what are wrong and what are rights? These are the moral development must children have to be developed by the teachers. So teacher must have to understand their rights and wrongs and development of the ethical values of a child. Okay, sensory and pre-sexual development. Okay, in this we have to discuss about the development of the sense and the ability of the interpret sensory information. Okay, you have to develop the sense in the child. Okay, next is the attachment and bonding, how they attach and bond with others. Okay, formation of the secure emotional bonding. Okay, and play and learning, role of play in learning and development. This is very common. Okay, influence of family and culture, impact of family dynamics and culture practice on development. Okay, this all impacts vary. And impact of environment, the impact of environment is very common. Okay, how various environment factors like socio economic status education influence development. So these all matters. So let's start the sample MCQs of FDE Islamabad EST post past paper, which are the most relevant and the most common MCQs which came in the past papers. Okay, so let's start sample MCQs for ESD past papers. The first one is, which stage of child development is characterized by rapid growth and development of motor skills? So, which stage of child development is characterized by rapid growth? So, in which stage your child development is rapidly growth and they develop their motor skills. So, that age stage can be called as infancy. Okay, the stage or period of child between 0 and 1. Yes. So this is the first stage of a child, which is between 0 and 1 years, in which your child grow very rapidly and they develop their motor skills. Okay, so the answer is A, infancy. Adolescence is basically the young age. Okay, time period between 10 to 19, which is the young age. Okay, who is known as the theory of cognitive development? So, the one who is known as the theory of cognitive development, you know, which is the thinking ability, reasoning, and other, as I mentioned you before, this thinking, reasoning, and problem solving. Okay, so who is known as the theory of cognitive development? So, the correct answer is Jean Pedic. Okay, correct answer is C. This is known as the this is the scientist who is known as the cognitive development. Okay, not Eric Exon. This is James Pedic. Okay, Jane Pedic. At what age do children typically begin to develop a sense self awareness? So, in which age? They are telling us about age. Children typically develop this sense of self-awareness. So, in which age children have a sense that they have self-awareness? So, this is at the age of its. Uh, you can say about the after first year. So, it should be at 18 months. Okay, so at round about 18 months, when your child is around about 1.5 years, so your child has self-awareness. How to be self-aware? Okay, which type of play is important? Is most common in early childhood? Okay, he's telling us the play. Which type of play is the most common in early childhood and involves children playing alongside each other without interacting? They play with each other without any interaction. They don't know. So this is known as parallel play, because they do not interact with each other. They was only playing with each others. Okay, so this is known as the parallel play. What is the main focus of Eric Erikson theory of psychosocial development during the first year of life. So Eric Erikson tells us about the psychosocial development in the first year of life is the trust and mistrust. So this developed in the first year of the life of every child. Okay. So the trust and the mistrust should be developed in the first year of life according to Eric Erikson theory. Which of the following is a milestone of cognitive development in the early childhood? We already discussed that cognitive development is a very first stage, and they are not supposed to walk. They use symbolic thoughts. Your child use symbolic thought at the age of 0 and 1. They use symbolics like they see words and they listen to words. They saw images and their mental representation of objects to event. Okay, so the correct answer is using symbolic thoughts. Okay. At what age do children typically begin to use two-word sentences? At which age students are now able to speak a bit like two words? So this is at the age of after 2 years, 1.5. So after at the age of 1.5, the students are self-aware, okay, and at the age of 2 years, means 24 months, they are able to speak or speak two word sentences. Who proposed the theory of multiple intelligence? Okay, so the correct answer who proposed the theory of multiple intelligence. Intelligence is a very good factor. Have intelligence, but multiple intelligence is a theory that proposed by Howard Gardner. Okay, so the correct answer is Howard Gardner, not Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky. Okay, so the correct answer is Howard Gardner. This is the basically the multiple intelligence. Which stage of development is characterized by the onset of puberty? Okay, so which stage? Early childhood, middle childhood, adolescence, which is the young age, and earlier adulthood. We know that adolescence is basically the age. Onset of puberty refers to the time in life when a person becomes sexually mature, typically at the age of 8 to 13. Okay, so he is telling us about at which stage the development is characterized by the onset of puberty. So the puberty means that the person becomes sexually mature. So this is at the age of 8 to 13. The child got sexually mature. And this is for boys, this is for girls, and for boys it's 9 to 14 years. Okay, so this is basically so called as the onset of puberty. So the correct answer here is the adolescence. Okay, now which concept is associated with the Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development? Now Vygotsky's has their another concept. Uh, this is schema? No. This is the classical conduction? No. Conditioning? No. This is the zone of proximal development? Yes, this is right. So this is the correct answer, zone of proximal development. This is by Vygotsky theory and by the theory that theory of multiple intelligence by Howard Gardner, and we mentioned that the theory of Eric Erikson mistrust, and the one we discussed like this, that the who is known as the theory of the cognitive development, that is the James Pedic. Okay, but here he is telling us about the Vygotsky's theory, and this is the zone of proximal development. Okay, this is by Vygotsky's theory. Okay. What is primarily developmental task of adolescence? Okay, according to Erikson. What is the primarily development task to adolescence according to Erickson? What he tells us about Erickson. Basically, there is another problem as you see here. Test and mistress is mentioned. Basically, in this, what is the main focus of Erickson? About this the psychosocial development during the first year of life. So first year of life is basically the trust and mistrust, but here is telling us about what is the primary development task, okay, of adolescence, okay. As you can see, what is adolescence, the correct answer is here, which is the age of 8 to 13. So according to Erickson, so at the age of 8 to 13, or 8 to 9 to 14, which is the adolescence age. According to Erickson, the correct answer is identity versus role confusion. Okay, not trust and mistrust. This is identity and role confusion. Okay, which term describes a child's ability to understand that objects continue to exist even when they cannot be seen. So, at which term describes the child's ability to understand that objects continue to exist even they cannot be seen, even if they're not seen. So, which ability of child this is known as if they continue to exist even if they cannot see? So, this is known as object. Okay, which is it is not B. This is the first one is object permanence. Okay, so object permanence basically describes the child ability in which they continue to exist even if they cannot see. Okay, according to Padlet, at what stage do children begin to think logically about concrete events? Okay, so according to Padlet, you have to tell according to Padlet, at what stage do children begin to think logically about the concrete events? So at which stage? This is the correct answer here is the concrete operational. Okay, because about the concrete events according to Padlet, this is at the stage of concrete operational. Okay, which type of attachment is characterized by a child's distress? Okay, distress when the caregiver learns and joy when they return. So he is asking which type of attachment is characterized by a child's distress when caregivers leaves and joy when they returns. So here the correct answer is secure attachment, because you know that they are asking for a type of attachment which is characterized by the child's distress, how they distress when the caregivers leaves and joy when they return. So the child feels secure attachment because there are caregivers to the child which have to look after, and when caregiver leaves and joy when they return. So when the caregiver return, so the child feel the secure attachment. Okay, what is the, you can see here 15 MCQs. What is the term for the difference between what a learner can do without help and what they can do with help? So you have to tell about what is the term, okay, for the difference between the what a learner can do without help and what they can do with help. If you help the learner, what can they do, and what the learner can do if you do not help. So what is the term you is known as, this is known as the zone of promotional development. Okay, sometimes learner wants help and sometimes they do not want help to seek the knowledge. So this is so called as the zonal zone of promotional development. Okay, so that's all for the child development MCQs, which are the most repeated and the past MCQs we already discovered. In our upcoming video, we will discuss about the educational pedagogy section. Okay, so that's all for our today's video. We will already upload our section of FDE physics test in our playlist of FDE EST. You can watch those videos. We will also cover other sections, other subjects like biology, chemistry, English. Along with that, other subjects, we will also cover English part, which came 20% in our upcoming videos. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.